I'm Jonathan Worsley, and on this FHS podcast, I'm delighted to have Natalia Bayona, who is Executive Director of UN Tourism. Natalia, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
Jonathan, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today promoting innovation and working together to strengthen the world through tourism.
Well, absolutely. And it's just wonderful to be working with you as well, because we are excited to be working with you on Women in Tech Startup Competition, which is a Middle East competition. And we were involved with you this year at FHS Saudi, of course, where we actually showcased and had stands for some of the winners from last year. This year, I'm delighted to be one of your judges, and truly exciting. To me, Natalia, I think you are quite the entrepreneur, seeing what you did, what you've done for the industry, for the UN in terms of being an innovator yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've ended up at UN Tourism.
Thank you so much. And first of all, I think that innovation is a state of mind. It's not that one day you're innovative and the other day you're not. I've been working on innovation my whole life, I have to say this. Due to the fact that I have created almost all the positions where I have been working for. First of all, in the Colombian government, I was part of the first team that created the international strategy for the country and to change Colombia's image in that time. Then, of course, I was in charge of creating the innovation division for tourism inside the country. Then, of course, jumping and becoming a pure innovator, becoming the vice president of the South Summit to create all the international strategy of the summit. And then, of course, creating the first department on innovation. So basically, what I feel is that innovation, of course, is the only way to modernize a structure, to modernize and to work efficiently. So I'm happy to say that when I started to work here in the UN tourism, part of my mandate was to get closer, the startups, to get closer the private sector, to get closer the young generations, full of commitment with changing technology, changing the way people are traveling, and of course giving the exposure to them in front of governments. So in that sense, technologies goes all around the world and of course make a difference in the way people travel, in the way we measure tourism, and of course in the way we work in the most human economic sector that is this sector.
No, exactly. And I just want to understand a little bit more about this innovation piece. Are you actually beginning to see the impact that you're making from these various initiatives, including this your startup competition?
Yes, of course. I have to say that thanks to the startup competitions that we have created, that is our flagship program, we are able to work on the ground with different governments. We're able to bring new technologies to help entrepreneurs to scale up their businesses. Thanks to our startup competition, we have helped 350 startups from all around the world that are like the top startups. And we have been helping them to access for funding. We have helping them to accelerate their growth with key partners like Amadeus, Google for startups, IE University, the Plug and Play, that is the top accelerator in the world when it comes to tourism, working with different private venture capital funds. So at the end of the day, we work together, the academia, the private funds, the organizations, the governments, in order to help these companies to grow, these companies to be funded in a better way, and of course, to activate pilot projects on the ground so that they see that technologies are used for good and for, of course, for being more efficient in the way we take decisions related to artificial intelligence or to big data or to social impact and social innovation, that in the case of Latin America, where we have seen that through our voice, entrepreneurs are able to create social impact businesses and include the most vulnerable communities as part of the touristic chain. So at the end of the day, this is giving economic growth, but of course, social growth at the end.
Fantastic. And are you beginning to see this whole change, how we innovate, which is all to do with tech and moving forward? Are we as an industry actually beginning to change? Because I know we're not innovating as fast as other sectors. And no doubt this is one of the reasons why you're so passionate about the innovation, the startup in to try to get us to excel.
Yeah. So I don't feel that we are not innovating. I feel that we are doing so. But the challenge is that there are a lot of startup creation, but there are just a few that are becoming the scale-ups. Only 5% of the total unicorns in the world are in the tourism sector. So there's a huge opportunity to keep helping startups to become scale-ups, to become mature entrepreneurs, so that at the end of the day, we have big tech companies that are guiding the way. The other thing is that we have been seeing that tourism has more than 100 subsectors, but I can say that the most important when it comes to technology are the ones, the B2C technologies, or when it comes to hospitality in general. But we need to make a strong efforts to include here more technology into transport, more technology into hotel administration, more technology into destination management in order to be complete and not only to concentrate the technology in just the hospitality sector, so that everyone is at the same level or at least balanced in the way we develop things, you know?
Natalia, one of your big passions is education, and there's just a massive need, isn't there, right now, to educate the youth. And I was listening to one of your presentations about the over close to 900,000 jobs are required in vocational training.
Yeah.
And every year until 2030. Give us a bit of background here and how important this is.
Tourism is the top employer of youth, but when we see the data, 50% of youth working in tourism only have secondary school. And I give you another example of what we see. Tourism in Europe accounts 53% of the total of international tourism, but 2/3 of youth in Europe only have secondary school. So at the end of the day, we need to work on two fields. First of all, on positioning tourism as an economic sector, so that young generations understand that this is a sector for a long-term vision. And second of all, of course, education. That's why in UN Tourism, we decided to create different strategies to help the member states. So we have the UN toolkit that is a toolkit or an ABC on how you can include tourism as a subject in high schools. Then we launched the bachelor's degree on international sustainable tourism. Then we have, for long life learning, we have the online academy with 35 courses from the top universities all around the world where you can study for free, different type of courses, so that you are certified at the end of the day. And last but not least, we are working with top universities all around the world to create masters on tourism and branding, tourism and technology. And we're helping countries like Saudi Arabia to create their own academies so that they are able to serve and they are able to create a strong workforce and a mature professional managers that can assure that this sector grows and that the salaries are coherent with the type of education that people that are working on this sector are having. Because at the end of the day, that's connected. No, the quality of the jobs has a lot to do with the quality of education.
Yeah, but I would imagine one of the difficulties though with it is trying to attract this youth into our sector as well. So how are you doing that? It's great to be providing the education, but how are we going to attract them to join our industry?
So at the end of the day, I feel that we need to work more, and we need part of what we have seen is that the countries that have done pretty well the education strategies, because they connect vocational and managerial education, so that people that start at technical and at a vocational education can jump easy to become a manager. So that's the case of Switzerland, that's the case of the US, and that's why we need, to work on these type of matters so that we can assure that quality education is there for everyone and that you can choose without any problem between becoming a strong manager or a strong technician in tourism, but at the end that you have the skills and that you have the tools, so that the Ministry of Education, this is really important, is really connected with the Ministry of Tourism, so that the certifications are valid, so that people at the end of the day has a strong path when it comes to how to become a professional in tourism.
Well, we're certainly doing our bit with our future hospitality summits in Saudi and in Dubai, where we give away the third day to bringing in the students. So we would typically have 150 students who are participating. We bring the leaders on stage, we go into workshops, and we talk about our passion for the industry and our love for what we've done, and to showcase what a great industry it is. So we continue to do that. One of the new initiatives that we're looking at doing in Saudi next year for the Future Hospitality Summit is an educational investment forum as well on the final day, bringing the private sector and the public sector together to talk about education. But no, it's just a wonderful initiative that you're doing and continuing to focus on this. Are you getting enough support from the private sector, from the industry on this, or are you trying to reach out more to the SMEs? I no doubt you've got the big brands on board with what you're doing.
I feel that that's a very good question, and I love it because, as you know, 80% of the touristic chain is possible thanks to the power of the SMEs. Without SMEs, we cannot talk about tourism. We have been working with them, but there's a strong challenge. Jonathan, I don't know if you know, but we did a survey under the framework of a project that we had in the past, that was the Digital Futures Program, that is a project to digitize SMEs. And in tourism, less than $50,000 are invested in digitalization from the SMEs. This is very important because, of course, it's not that they don't want to. It's even they don't know how to, or they don't have the budget to do so. So at the end of the day, what we need to do is we need to work together. And that's why the power of education, again, is crucial, to give the tools to SMEs to understand how to do digital marketing, how to measure digital marketing, how to use big data, how to use artificial intelligence for good, so that at the end of the day, the fundamentals are there,
Interesting. Now, I know you need to leave, Natalia, for our meeting, but one of the challenges we face as an industry, which I wanted to get your views on before you leave, and that's been in the papers every day this week, but it's over-tourism, and we've seen the situation where you're calling from in Spain, particularly in Barcelona, with the issues of local communities not appreciating and having challenges with over-tourism. How is the UN tourism dealing with this?
That's a very important question. I have to say that when it comes to communications, this is crucial because this is a positioning of the sector. Then you have the reality. So I have to say that over-tourism is a challenge that we have in the mature destinations. Why? Because after COVID, everyone wants to travel, and of course, everyone wants to experience the different places and the different things that maybe in other sectors were possible. But in tourism was really special because the borders were closed 100%. So today, more than ever, people want to travel. Here, the challenge is not only for Barcelona, it's for the mature destinations. We see it in France, or we see it in Amsterdam, or we see it in Italy, where there are different measures, or in New York still. So there are different measures that are taken there, restricting or including some taxes for tourism, etc. My advice here is that, of course, what we need to do is to use the power of technology so that we analyze the data, that we analyze pretty well the seasonality on when is the key moment when there's a lot of tourists coming in and out from one place, or what we can do on everything related to balance the good experience that a tourist has in a destination, plus the benefits that are coming to the citizens and to the people that at the end of the day are living with tourism. So if we are able to connect both, we can assure social sustainability, economic sustainability, and of course, environmental sustainability. And at the end of the day, that can help us to succeed as a sector. So what we do is we're working, we have maybe 3 things that we are working on. First of all, on technology through these startup competitions. So attracting the talent that is solving these kind of problems. Second of all, through our department of market trends and competitiveness, they, for example, are working on a structure on how to manage urban tourism. And then we are, as part, for example, of our agenda for Europe, we are going to develop a project related to the regulation of short-term rentals. That is one of the main things that comes connected with over-tourism. So in that sense, we are guiding and we are helping our member states from European destinations that has the challenge of preserving the environment, preserving the happiness and the quality of life of their citizens, but of course, bringing economic growth through tourism.
Yeah, it's a fine balance here, isn't it, Natalia? Well, listen, thank you so much. I know you've got to dash off for a meeting, but I do appreciate this, and I'm sitting as one of your judges for the Women in Tech Startup competition, of which we're hosting the semifinals in Dubai at FHS, and then, of course, the finals will be in Alula in November, I believe. So look forward to seeing you there and carrying on our conversation, because you do so much for the industry, and we didn't even talk upon what the whole investment side and which you often speak about. So Natalia, thank you so much for joining us today on this podcast.
Nothing. Thank you, Jonathan, for your generosity, for spreading the voice of tourism, entrepreneurship, innovation. And of course, I know that you will be really tough judging the startups, but at the end of the day, quality is the most important thing in our sector. So I know that through your help, we'll have the best startups and the best promotion of them. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Steph.